Look at that handsome fella. But that's not what I'm trying to talk about. So, this guy right here, Missing 411. It's free on YouTube right now with ads. And I'm going to try and include a link if it will let me. I don't know, because sometimes the things that are they're more popular and more produced, they have restrictions on them, and sometimes you can't link it to your video. But it's free right now. I don't know how long that will last. I encourage you to watch it. There's a lot of people going missing. I've talked about this with a few brethren in fellowship, and get to speak with behind the scenes, and people like Through the Black, Russ Dizdar, have been attacking the satanic ritual abuse and trying to at least let it be known, because as Russ says, there's a ruler, a principality over it, masking it from the public. We could cross paths with young people that are enslaved by a satanic force, and being abused. And so I'm doing research into that slowly, but I want to know how to combat it. It bothers me. However, there's another subject, and the reason I brought up the Missing 411 is because in this documentary, and the man, it's based on a series of books a guy wrote, and he's noticed, oddities about it. People are trying to explain it away as the most physically possible thing. This child was taken by a mountain lion, but there's never any blood or shredded clothes. They find their clothes, 500 yards up a steep mountain, or something ridiculous like that. And if you look into it logically, there's no way that a child could make that walk. They wouldn't take off their clothes. The shoes were clean. So and that's for a kid to have white shoes walking through a wooded area with no dirt on them. That either means they were kidnapped and stripped, and then the clothes were later taken back and put there, or something else is happening. There is another documentary that may not seem related, and it's called The World's Most Dangerous Drug. I will link that one as well. The story that I would like you to focus on in it is these two teenagers that had their lives ahead of them. They were good in school. They weren't your like average drug user. And they were in kind of middle America, experimented with methamphetamine, and they died due to a blizzard, the elements. But the thing, the way that they were exposed to the elements was because of the meth. They called 911. They were stuck in their car, stranded on the side of the road in a blizzard, and they began to see people dancing and singing around their vehicle, kind of in a field, far off. I don't want to say they weren't encircled by them, but they were off in a field. They both saw it, and in the 911 call, they talk about how it's satanic. They saw something, and it made them scared enough to get out of their car in a blizzard and try and seek shelter somewhere else. They were looking for help. The temperature and the elements, they died from it, and they were found later. I've tried to the best way that I know how to try and explain and give examples of things that don't add up in my own life. All the stories of people interacting with something that I couldn't necessarily see or make out as clearly as they could. Maybe they saw it just as I saw it, but they knew what it was. They recognized it was familiar to them. So there wasn't what the heck is that? Because they were so excited that it was there, and it was never a good feeling. It was never a good thing. Like something very sinister. The air changed. I don't care what shape that the earth is in. I know that there are laws in the world in which we live that we haven't really been taught. Not in the physical sense of things changing and things just, reality sort of breaking down around you. But I can tell you, it seems to correlate with laws that, our Father has given us to, He's the author and the finisher. I really believe that sin corrupts reality itself. And things come through. I mean, that's why you don't play with Ouija boards and stuff like that, because, you begin interacting with an entity from another place. If you look into Michael Heiser, he does he does this presentation in front of a church about his book. I believe it's The Unseen Realm, and he there's a point in there where he's talking about the Lord of the Dead, and in another place, and he even says, if you like Stranger Things, it's like the Upside Down. I told a story one time of being around two police officers. Strangely enough, I was strange. I had kind of wrecked my truck off to the side of the road, and these cops were there, and they were acting strange, and everything around me began to die. It was like the grass faded to brown. I saw things that sort of just, they didn't move, but they just sort of like, they were there. They weren't there, and then they were there as everything was dying, and these cops were getting just as happy as some of the other stories that I've explained. And in complete and absolute fear, I could feel something coming. I literally cried out in the name of Jesus, begging for help. And their smiles went away, and the grass faded back to green. Even stranger than that, about a year later, these two cops show up at a wedding of a family member. And they were there, they were off duty, but they knew them. The reason I think that we live in much more of a realm is because there are things that have came up in my life, and I've wanted to leave. I wanted to flee and seek out safety with other people, but still, having a dialogue between myself and God, and asking him, like, is that, even in this state of fear, is that what you want me to do? Is this spirit of fear, or are you causing it so that I will run? And the answer I got back is, you can't run from whatever this is that you're going to have to go through. What happens when you get there, and you still have to deal with whatever it's a spiritual thing. There's no escaping it, but it also doesn't mean that, it is my end. I can sense that there's something there at times, and every time before, and I would seek out the Father, and I would learn something from it. But my point is that the reason I believe that we're in a realm is because of situations like that, or the story I told of driving to Biloxi and people being there waiting. They were just watching, and it was as if they had a knowledge of knowing who I was and all that. This isn't some undercover conspiracy or agency following me around. Little old landin petz. So why would they? But the reason I bring all of this up, and the reason that the whole realm idea, and is many times in the Bible that it talks about going to a foreign land and a foreign nation. And I understand we keep thinking, linearly, like Israel, certain people in a certain area, and then Nebuchadnezzar and other people come and they take them and they bring them to another country. But the whole thing with sin changing reality, it's as if it's a foreign land, like an entirely different realm. And I'm not into like multiple universes or anything like that, but I do see, laws that God has ordained, and things. If you just look at society, the spirit that's over people, they're less caring. You're more willing to just walk past somebody that needs help nowadays. Just society as a whole. And it's just a different place than it was 10 years ago. And it will be different 10 years from now than it is now. So, the realm thing. the reason I bring up the world's most dangerous drug and that specific story of those kids that passed away and the missing 411 thing is there are people that are missing around me, Hammond, Louisiana. Uh, and I find out about it on social media, and that's it. And I don't see public outcry. I don't see this young man named Noah is a young adult with autism, and he left because of the autism. They, according to the articles I've read, he would kind of get emotionally overwhelmed and leave. And then they found his car on the Alabama state line, but they can't find him anywhere. He's just not around. They don't know where he is, and that is the most, like family reaching out, really searching for their son that I've seen. Other ones, there's a young lady from the next parish over who was 13 years old, very pretty. And when I saw that, I'm like, man, this young girl's in danger. And please pray for all of them. I don't know the answers to it, but what I'm saying is that I keep seeing these examples, and I'm finding out on Facebook, and there's nothing really in the news, except the guy Noah. That's the only one that I've seen has actually been a report from like real media saying, please help us find. Let's make sure that everyone that we can possibly reach out to understands that this person is missing. So if you see him, please call somebody. But these other people, this young girl that's 13, there's another one that's 16 from the town right down the road. 2 months back, I saw two 16-year-old girls that went fishing disappear. I didn't see them personally. I saw it on social media. And you see one post about it on Facebook, and then there's nothing. There's no signs up. When people go missing from your town and they're just not there anymore, it bothers me, especially people that are so young. And I think that all of this connects. I don't have the answers for it, and I don't know what to do, but I want to at least bring attention to it so that maybe, collectively God will give us the answers. Anytime I see something about the SRA or something like that, I want to combat it. I want to disrupt those forces of darkness ruining the lives of young people and the families that miss the ones that they never get back. And this is not where we were meant to be. And it seems that because there's a cloak of darkness, this darkness is able to weave in and out and move in such a direction that it goes undetected around us. And that's really how they begin to call us fools, because there's situations happening right in front of our face and we don't even recognize it. I don't really have a point to this, and I really don't like making depressing videos. Sometimes I'm frustrated because I deal with emotions, but I don't know what to do about it, and I just wanted to bring awareness to it. I encourage you, if you have time today or in the future, watch both of those. The Missing 411 is free right now with the ads. The world's most dangerous drug it was put out in like 2012, so you should just be able to click on it and watch it. But I'd also like to know if this is going on in your town. Maybe I'm seeing it more. I have a personal belief that books and movies, if our eyes are the windows of the soul, the power of music that we listen to, most people understand that. But when you watch a movie, it opens something. It's like a spell, like, for lack of a better term. It opens something up in your mind. And so they reproduce a movie like It, with these kids going missing, and it's seen on a national level. I haven't seen it because I don't want to let this stuff into my life. But it seems as if there's a correlation with that movie coming out and then all of this stuff kind of happening months later, and I find that weird. I'm not saying that It is the reason that they've that they're disappearing. Like, think logically here, but I'm saying there's a spiritual connection to people allowing things into the windows of their soul, and it's sort of physically happening around them. Not necessarily a clown, again, logic, but the fact that kids are going missing, and it bothers me. I call it synchronicity. I don't know, but please, I would like to know if it's pretty much the same where you're at, and if you have any information on how to really, I don't know, how do you, there's no like databases or anything that this should really be common knowledge to combat, sort of like what is it, Switzerland? Everybody is required to have a gun, or they get tax breaks, and they have like one of the lowest crime rates. I don't know if it's Switzerland, but anyway, so I don't have a point, but I just want to raise awareness for it, and I want to stop it from happening, but I don't really know how. So I'm hoping collectively, maybe something can come from this. God bless. Have a good day.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love for